Hola amigos, this is Level 12 and today we are doing a Q&A for 2021. Not even a weekend and my country is on fire. Thank you. But in mid-December I was really interested in doing an Ask Me Anything, which I don't know the difference between that and a Q&A, but I really wanted to do it. I got 8 questions from it on my community tab, so thank you to those 8 people. Some questions have multiple parts, so it's not just going to be a short video. Usually when I get into a slump, I usually make one of these kind of easier making videos, so all I have to do is answer some questions. So let's see what you guys asked me. Also, these are just in the order as they appeared on my community tab, and usually my comments are in order of most popular, and only one got a like, so anyways. So what do you think about the Mochis from the series, asked by Stella Salmon, or Salmon, whatever. I don't really have that strong of opinion on the Mochis from Hetalia. Oh, and by the way, I didn't mean for these all to be Hetalia based, but they all pretty much were. Anyways, so I don't really have that much of an opinion on the Mochis. I think they're okay. I know some people really like to meme the America Mochi and a couple of the other Mochis, but other than for like a trigger warning slide of a fan art of a Latvia Mochi, I don't really care much for the Mochis. I don't think they're bad by in any regard. They're just not something I spend my time looking at or trying to research or whatever. They're okay. They exist. Did your opinions on certain Hetalia characters / pairings change over time? Pairings, I'm not entirely sure because I've pretty much shipped the same stuff since I've been in the fandom. Maybe Fruk, I thought it was a lot, and Jarita, just because they're really popular, I'm not that into them anymore because I can always find stuff for them. It's for my more rarer ships that it's hard to find stuff over. Characters, most definitely. I actually have a video on this, I think, of me saying I hated Prussia and his guts, and then I have another video of me fawning over him. I hated Prussia just because of how he first came off in the show. He's very abrasive and very caustic, which is a real deterrent for me from liking a character, but I researched more into him and just saw how the fandom portrayed him a little bit differently, and I grew to love him. He's now one of my favorite characters to cosplay. He's my comfort character, might kin him a little bit, but yeah, I did a complete 180 on how I felt about Prussia. Favorite and least favorite Hetalia headcanons. I don't really have least favorites. I don't dwell on headcanons I don't like too much. Probably my favorite ones have to involve Prussia's and Liechtenstein's relationship because they're both Germanic, and I always think of Liechtenstein as like a little sister to Prussia and Germany, and I think Prussia just treats her like a princess and is very much big brother type, much to Switzerland's dismay. That's really the only one I can think off the top of my head. I might have a headcanons video out there. If I do, it'll be in the description or in a little card. I can't quite remember if I have a headcanons video. It feels like I do. But yeah, I have a few Hetalia headcanons, none of them that are super important. What languages do you speak / want to learn? So I speak English fluently. I know beginner Spanish. I used to know a lot more Spanish back when I took the class. I took the Spanish class from 7th grade all the way to 10th grade, and had I stuck with it, I would have, on paper, I would have been a certified Spanish speaker, according to U.S. School system. If I were to pick up Spanish again, like I used to keep up with it on Duolingo for a while, but Duolingo is draining, and remembering to do it is, I'm kind of an idiot. But I definitely want to pick up Spanish again just to get that certification, just because I was so close to knowing Spanish fluently according to my school system. I also want to learn Russian and Japanese. Japanese just, like, because I've always wanted to learn it, and I have picked it up once or twice, and I can recognize a few words here and there, and maybe, like, the numbers and stuff, but nothing perfect. And then Russian, because not that it's easy to learn, but it's quite a different language than English is, so I'd be really interested in learning Russian. There's not really any other languages I would want to learn. I mean, if I finish Spanish, I've heard Italian or Portuguese is pretty easy to pick up because they're similar enough that pronunciations are pretty okay. But that's basically it. I might pick up Russian in college, though, because I think one of my colleges might require me to pick up a language. Favorite Hetalia song? I don't listen to the Italia songs as much anymore. If I want to feel super nostalgic for middle school, I'll like listen to the Maruchakais. But I think one of my favorites is France's song. I can't remember the title. I think it's Très Bien. I think that's the name of it. It's one of my favorites just because I love France's voice actor, or his Japanese seiyuu, and also Light My Heart and Carrot and Stick are two of my favorite ones because, first of all, Carrot and Stick is by Ukraine and Belarus, and it's so strange for them to get a character song because they're not that important in the series, or not. I mean, they're some of the favorite in the fandom, but they're not that important series-wise. And then just Light My Heart for Russia, because you get such a spectrum of Russia, and it's really nice. Also, what is your ethnicity? White? Caucasian? American? I don't know. White. We'll leave it at that. Oh, what inspired you to start a YouTube channel? Probably I watched YouTube back in its infancy, back in when I was like a kid, because my sister was really into it. I remember when like Charlie Bit My Finger was first uploaded to YouTube, and Charlie the Unicorn and Annoying Orange. I remember when all of that was like, it was freshly uploaded to YouTube, so I've been watching YouTube for a while. Really, YouTubers like PewDiePie, I loved what he did back when he did like stupid gameplay videos. His content has changed now, which that's fine. But I originally wanted to do that, and then I started watching The Anime Man and Lost Paws and Misty slash Chronexia and what's the other one? Aki Dearest. I liked how they talked about anime, and I was super into anime, and I still really like anime. But nowadays, I wish I could change my content up a little bit to do more documentary commentary type stuff, because I'm really into Frederick Knudsen, who does the Down the Rabbit Hole series. I'm really into Nexpo and Rainbot, who do kind of creepy style videos. I mean, my content is constantly evolving and changing. I recently did a purge of content where I deleted 10, 15 videos. Some videos I keep up because I know people like have a love for them nostalgia, just for nostalgia. And then some videos I just took down because they were bad quality, or they didn't have really any views, so who watched them, like, I don't know, just wanting to do it. Money. Money was also part of the reason I started, but it's not the reason I continued. Like, I didn't start making money until 2020, when even then, I haven't even made this threshold for Google to give me access to any of that money. So thank you, Google, for that. Did you ever read Gutters? If so, what are your thoughts on it? I have not read Gutters. All I know about Gutters is a bunch of people like Gutters. There's like 3 really popular Italia fanfictions, and they are Gutters, The Danish Slaughterhouse, which was inspired by Gutters, and Auf Wiedersehen, Sweetheart, which has nothing to do with the Nordics and is a German-Italy fanfiction. I do plan on reading Gutters and doing a similar thing for what I did for The Danish Slaughterhouse, which was read the entirety of it and annotate it with comments and stuff, especially because that's how I just naturally read now. I have an open notebook, even for books, in my hands, and not just Google Docs open and annotating and stuff. But I do plan on reading Gutters. I hear it's very heart-wrenching. I'm pretty sure Denmark dies, based off the end of the Danish Slaughterhouse, and how Intra Soleil said their inspiration for writing the Danish Slaughterhouse was how Denmark was treated in Gutters, so I'm kind of wary of what's in there. But I also know it's a lot more beloved than the Danish Slaughterhouse. The Danish Slaughterhouse is like, back in early internet, you would send someone a random link and, it'd be something horrifying. Love the early internet. Do you have a favorite Hetalia fanfic? And I actually don't, because most of what I read is not for the quality of it. I do have a favorite fanfic. It is for it's so specific. There was this game series by Telltale called The Walking Dead series, and it followed Clementine and Lee, and like it became trash in the later games. But they had this DLC between the first game and the second game called the 400 Days DLC, and I love that DLC. I can replay it for days on end. And because I liked the characters of it, and I found this fanfiction that was nothing but those characters called Into the Fray, and it's a 3-part series on fanfiction.net, and I haven't reread it in a while, but it has stuck with me that I have an issue with maladaptive daydreaming, and it's what takes up most of my maladaptive daydreams. Especially the main villain in it, Ivan. He's one of my favorite written villains. So yeah, I love Into the Fray, The Walking Dead 400 Days. And ending it off, we have some quick fire questions. So what new nations do you want to see in the manga that is coming up? I mentioned some of this in a video. I just want more female characters, and if I had to pick one country, it would be Andorra, because I think Andorra and Monaco would be good friends, because they're both tiny little nations that speak French and aren't very well known. I think they would have just that in common. Since Hima's talked about US states and wanting to make comic, what states would you want to see in territories get personified? That's the basic gist of that question. I do have some US state OCs. They need an overhaul, because I made them when I was in 8th grade and kind of an idiot. But they need an overhaul, but I would love to see US states because they're so different. But I would also love to see things I don't know about, like the Canadian provinces. There's actually a cosplayer I follow called Post from 1776 that has a Quebec OC, and I love seeing when that comes up, but probably the provinces of Canada or the prefectures of Japan would also be something super interesting. I know we have one of them. I think we have Osaka, and then maybe one more. Osaka is not the best. I would like more characterization if we do get those. Favorite Hetalia characters, right off the tip of my tongue, would be like Russia, Prussia, Latvia, Lithuania. Those are like the main 4, but also like Liechtenstein, just that realm of characters. Don't ask me to rank them right now, because some days it's Liechtenstein, some days it's Prussia, some days it's Russia, but whatever. Favorite Hetalia voice actors, it can be subbed or dubbed. I really like J. Michael Tatum does, just in general, I like J. Michael Tatum. He does France's English voice. Eric Vale, something. The guy that voices America, he's super fun, like, just on social media and stuff. But for their voice qualities, I like France's Japanese seiyuu a lot, just because I can hear that voice in my head, and it's so nice to listen to in songs. And Prussia's seiyuu I also like, because Prussia seiyuu is how I try to mimic my Prussia voice. That it's not very well, but that's the voice I try to do. Favorite thing about Hetalia? I just like history and learning about the countries and stuff. I mean, that's not what Hetalia is, but it kind of fuels that part of my brain, and it's become the thing I have put most of my money into. I have a lot of Hetalia merch. Where do nations live? I don't quite know what this question is asking me. Nations live in houses. Like, we've clearly seen the nation's houses, and I think there's some theories on where exactly the houses are located and what they are. I think Russia clearly lives in, like, not the Kremlin, but like the Winter Palace or something. Like, he clearly lived in something like that, just based off a lot of things. I think most nations live in their capital city, like, so England would live in London, France lives in Paris, Russia lives in Moscow, God bless America if he lives in DC. Like, I think they live there. Specifically, like, where, like, if they live, like, does England live in, like, Buckingham Palace? Does France live wherever the Prime Minister of France lives? I have no idea, but I do believe they do live in whatever their nation's capital is. What building, I'm not sure. If you design a Hetalia character, who should it be? I don't know what this question is asking me quite necessarily. I would either redesign Poland or Switzerland or any other character that looks like another character, because that's boring character design. I think I would also redesign probably Egypt, because he looks super boring. Probably redesign Cyprus, because he looks like, the first time I saw Cyprus, I'm like, oh, that's Greece. And then I realized that it was not Greece and it was Cyprus, so I would redesign Cyprus. If I could, again, I would want Andorra, and probably I don't know how I would design Andorra. I've seen some designs of her looking very similar to Monaco. I've seen designs of her looking very different from Monaco. And I say her because I would want it to be a female. I have no idea how I would design characters, because there's a lot of aspects that goes into Hima's character design, and he does a lot of sketches or thumbnail sketches of what those characters should look like, and just, man, whatever. So that's it for this video. Again, just a very chill video to get back into video making, because I haven't done it in quite a while. At least for me, what feels like a while. Anyways, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more random fandom things. Ciao, chicos.